The Wealth of Nations was written by Adam Smith, a Scottish economist and philosopher. It was published in 1776, during a time when European countries were expanding trade and their economies were changing. Back then, many people thought a country's wealth depended on how much gold and silver it had. However, Smith introduced a new idea. A nation's wealth comes from its ability to produce goods and trade, not just from collecting precious metals. His book became one of the most important works in economics and helped shape modern economic thought. Smith explains that people naturally exchange goods and services. He introduces the idea of specialization, where people focus on making one product instead of trying to do everything themselves. For example, a farmer grows crops while a blacksmith makes tools. When they trade, both benefit. Smith calls this the division of labor, and he explains how it makes businesses and economies more efficient. The more specialized workers become, the better they get at their tasks, increasing productivity. This principle applies not just to individuals, but also to businesses and entire countries, leading to significant economic growth over time. He also talks about value. He asks why diamonds are expensive while water, which is essential for life, is cheap. He explains that value depends not only on usefulness, but also on how much work and resources go into making something. This idea helped shape future economic theories about supply and demand. When many people want a product and there is not enough of it, the price goes up. On the other hand, if something is easy to find and produce like water, the price stays low even if it is essential for survival. Another key idea in The Wealth of Nations is the invisible hand. Smith says that when people work to benefit themselves, they also help society, even if they don't mean to. For example, a baker wants to make money, so he bakes bread. But by selling bread, he also provides food for others. This natural system of self-interest, competition, and trade, according to Smith, leads to economic growth without the need for strict government control. As businesses compete to attract customers, they lower prices, improve quality, and innovate, which benefits everyone. Smith criticizes government policies that interfere too much with business and trade. At the time, many European countries followed a system called mercantilism, where governments controlled trade to gain wealth. They set tariffs, restricted imports, and supported certain industries. Smith believed these policies often made things worse by slowing economic growth and making goods more expensive. He argued that free markets, where businesses and individuals can trade with little government interference, lead to more prosperity. When businesses can operate freely, competition forces them to improve efficiency and produce better products at lower costs. However, Smith did not believe the government should do nothing at all. He said the government should provide important services like building roads, running schools, and protecting the country. He also thought some industries, like banking, needed rules to prevent problems like fraud. He believed there should be a balance between free markets and government actions that benefit society. While businesses should compete freely, some regulation is necessary to ensure fair play and protect consumers from harmful practices. Throughout the book, Smith explains how different economic systems work, comparing free markets to economies controlled by governments. He uses examples from history and his own observations to support his ideas. He also talks about how countries can become wealthier by focusing on trade, improving productivity, and encouraging innovation. He argues that if countries try to produce everything themselves instead of trading, they limit their potential. When nations specialize and trade with each other, they can produce more and enjoy a wider variety of goods. Another important topic in The Wealth of Nations is taxation. Smith believed taxes should be fair and not discourage people from working or investing. He suggested 4 principles. Taxes should be based on a person's ability to pay, they should be clear and predictable, they should be collected in a convenient way, and they should be used efficiently by the government. These ideas influenced modern tax systems worldwide. Smith believed that high taxes could harm economic growth by discouraging work and investment. Instead, he supported a system where taxes were designed to be fair and not hinder economic activity. Smith also discusses wages and labor. He explains why some jobs pay more than others, looking at skill level, working conditions, and the demand for workers. He argues that when businesses compete for workers, wages tend to rise. However, he also points out that employers sometimes have more power than workers, which can lead to unfair wages and poor working conditions. In industries where there are many workers but few job opportunities, wages remain low. On the other hand, if skilled workers are in short supply, they can demand higher wages. In later parts of the book, Smith talks about economies on a larger scale. He looks at why some countries become rich while others remain poor. He argues that economic growth comes from increasing production, improving technology, and allowing businesses to operate freely. He also discusses international trade, saying that countries should trade with each other instead of trying to do everything on their own. Trade allows countries to specialize in what they do best and benefit from exchanging goods and services. For example, if one country is good at producing textiles and another is good at making cars, both benefit when they trade instead of trying to make both products themselves. At the end of The Wealth of Nations, Smith warns about monopolies and companies that become too powerful. He believes competition is necessary for a healthy economy because it encourages businesses to improve products, lower prices, and serve consumers better. When a single company controls an industry, prices go up and quality goes down. He argues that governments should prevent monopolies and protect fair competition. Without competition, businesses have no incentive to innovate or improve, which can harm consumers and slow economic progress. Overall, The Wealth of Nations is an important book that changed how people think about economics. It helped shift societies from tightly controlled economies to free markets, where businesses can grow and innovation can thrive. Smith's ideas laid the foundation for modern economics and still influence economic policies today. His arguments for free trade, competition, and limited but effective government involvement remain relevant. Even though the book was written over 200 years ago, many of its ideas still apply today, making it one of the most important books in economic history. By explaining how markets work and why trade and competition matter, Smith helped create the economic systems that shape the world today.